Today I'm going to go over the structure of many of my lessons. I usually start out with technique for everybody. Most of my students are intermediate to late intermediate to early advanced and a little bit more than that. And so all the students require a technical part of their lesson, which is usually the beginning part. As far as the amount of time that's put in, it depends on the preparation of the student from the week before, what the assignment was. I usually like 20 minutes to 30 minutes on technique. So we start out with the scale. Students would say for F sharp minor, as an example, which is related to A major, so in the natural form it has 3 sharps. We start with a parallel motion scale. We try to cover the whole piano too, so student gets the sense of the geography and what's required in terms of leaning in this direction to the top octave here and leaning a little that way but not moving on the bench. That's important. As far as any symmetries, we look for symmetries in the scale. Where do the same fingers meet on certain notes? And where there might be mirror fingers. And I'll give you a quick example of F sharp minor in parallel motion. When you roll into it, your 3s meet on C sharp, and then you have a mirror finger relationship here on F sharp G sharp, which is 4 3 3 4. So it's good to know that because it organizes the scale a bit. So those are the 2 places, the 3s here on the C sharp, and then the 4 3 3 4 on the F sharp G sharp. And the other component of the scale is how do I start the scale in terms of getting a beautiful contour. Most students kind of plunge into the first note, and so it doesn't have a sense of where it's coming from, and it's a little abrupt. So I work a lot on breathing. But if I took a nice natural well of air all the way in, but not impetuous and not, anticipatory, but just natural, not quickly, but as again a very slow, relaxed expelling of the air, and came in on the first note of the scale a little bit into the expelling of the air, and keep that kind of expelling of the air for a longer time, I got a nice beginning to the scale. Sometimes I don't have my microphone. This is a different mic. I'm using a second view, which has the mic behind me. But if I used the other view, you would hear me doing a lot of heavy breathing. So what I would do is like that. And then I keep breathing. You can't talk and breathe at the same time. So I have to keep the breathing. Once it's expelled naturally, you want to keep natural breathing. You don't want to hold your breath. So you take your nice inhale. Now breathing all the way. I'm leaning in terms of my body. The other thing is very relaxed arms and making sure that you have an arm's length to the fall board. So that means having the bench far enough back to allow for that length of your arms. And I sit at the edge of the bench, so I'm at the edge of the bench so I can go forward toward the piano. Those are important ingredients in playing scales. For staccato, I tell the student if you get some good traction going up and down, here's the traction, a little bit more sound. Just do an extra bit less octave. Now snip it out with the fingers. This is finger staccato. I'll keep going. Lean. Now I can go back up this way. Soft staccato, I lift the arm weight off. Now, today I was working with a student. We were doing the 3 forms, but we're doing it in contrary motion. Now, contrary motion presents the challenge of your head not going back and forth. It gets you really confused, gets you in a dizzying state, which you don't want to be in. For this particular scale, the natural is kind of, maybe the only organizer I would say for the natural would be when I get to the F sharp, as I get to the F sharps, right here. So I have a 4 in the left and a 3 in the right. I know they have to meet there with 3 in the right, 4 in the left. There's not many other symmetries here. So here it is. I know I'm right if I land on 4 in the left on F sharp and 3 in the right on F sharp at the same time. The other thing is leaning toward the piano. I always lean at that last octave, but otherwise look straight ahead. Otherwise look straight ahead. Because you have peripheral vision. I pointed this out on some of my other videos. We do have peripheral vision pretty much to the 2 octaves. The 3rd octave starts going off the radar screen. So one of my pianist friends told me years ago, lean toward the piano, it brings it closer to you. Now, if I did harmonic, which I'm raising the 7th note to E sharp, it's really the same idea. So you can lean again in that last octave and bring yourself back in. Traction. Now, the 3rd form is a different story because this melodic form going up changes the 4 over to D sharp going up. Coming down, it restores the 4 to G sharp, but it gets real stretchy up here because when you get all the way up to the top, you'd have a 2 here. Okay, so you would have a 2 here, not a 3. You would have a 2 here because now you have your 4 changing to D sharp 4 going up. So when you get to the end, this is real stretchy. I lean this way. I lean over to my right side. Sometimes I can't find that E sharp. That's stretching my arms out. Right here. I lean over to that and I help get that thumb under. Okay, the left hand doesn't present that problem. Let's see why. So here's the D sharp, and there's another thing we have to pay attention to. Under thumb, get your thumb under. I lean this way. Now the left hand has the raised note. The fingering doesn't change in the left hand from the other 2 forms. Now the other thing I should have talked about in terms of the challenges of playing scales is the preparation of the thumb shifts. The way I look at it, I like to be advancing my thumb a little ahead of time. It doesn't play ahead of time in terms of the outpouring of the scale and its regularity of rhythm, but it's prepared early. So if I go in slow-mo for the melodic, already in the left hand my thumb's under, and my thumb's under there in the right on the E sharp, already under left, ahead of time, under, lean, under. Boy, that E sharp's under there already. So that's a stretchy thing. And it's much easier coming back down to bring the thumb out through these tunnels. So we were working a lot on that last octave. So you get this. Stretch out. 4 comes over and 4 left follows. It's very tricky for the fingering changes going up in the right hand. So I'm going to just do a slightly different view for that tricky melodic F sharp minor because I don't think it could be seen on the other camera. So at least when we get to the top here, I think you can see what my arms are going to look like when I lean over for that melodic minor. My thumb gets under quickly. It's already under. My thumb's already under again, that E sharp. I already have it stretched out. And then I can just more relax it coming down so I don't stretch out anymore. Coming down, I don't need to stretch anywhere. You can see I just cruise down or float down. So that's a tricky thing. In staccato too, you want to keep that same angle. See, there I have my arm stretched out like this, and then I relax it coming down. And if I want to make a kind of a peak there, I want it a little heavier, that one, and then bring it down. I think you can see it. let's say I'm not leaning, just so you can see it. So I'm not going to lean, but just so you can see the angle of my hand relaxing, coming down. I think you can see it. I'm going to see if I can see it. Now at the same time, you have coming down the 4, because your 2 and your 4 meet together. When this is going up, you've got a 2 here. When it's coming down, you get a 3 on the F sharp, because you go back to 4 on G sharp coming down, right? So the left hand stays with 4 on F sharp, no matter which direction. The notes change going up, and they nullify or neutralize coming down, right? Okay, so this hand isn't, I would say that this shift with the 4-1 does slant my arm this way a bit, but then it's restored after that. You're not going to keep your hand like that when you don't have to. Okay, let's see if I can pull this off. So, looks like my arms are like pigeon toes, like this, when I start, like this way. So, I'm stretching out. I'm not going to lean or you won't see what's happening. I normally will lean to the right side. So, let's see what happens. Okay, that's what it is. That's what we were doing today. We were working on that. We were also working on, beside the scale, we do arpeggios. We did a broken chord arpeggio for the dominant 7. We did, I think we did it in parallel motion. Under thumb, under thumb, under thumb, under thumb, under thumb, under. Tuck in the thumb so it doesn't poke out. Blends in. Under thumb, under thumb, under thumb, under thumb. And I think the fingers need to be more curved when you have these skinny little black notes so that you don't slip and slide off them. But you get good contact with that, you know, you're in cohesion with those black notes. And then we also did, I think this was the third thing we did, was for F sharp major. This is a different story. We did a 4-note arpeggio. We're not necessarily going around the circle of fifths, but we're kind of geographically dealing with different kinds of 4-note arpeggios. This is one on black notes only. There are 2 of them would be F sharp major and D sharp minor would be only black note 4-note arpeggios. So we roll forward, forward, scoop it up and rolling forward, scoop it up and this is what we did today. All the way. Then there's a lateral rotation that way, and that way, and that way, and that way. And then we do a little rolling. That way, that one. Space them, space. Of course, they go into staccato, and you use the same little bouncing forward, 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 bouncing forward. That one, 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 that one. And then the soft staccato, you would just lift your arm weight and play lighter, but always do your breathing. Lighter, bounce and rebound, bounce and rebound, bounce and rebound. Trampoline, that one, and 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 that one. See if you could roll that 5th. Sometimes the 5th finger seems like it's a little bit separated from the group of 4 notes. So remember, a little bit forward, yeah? And then you start again. So we're going to roll all the way to that 5 in the right hand, look. Then you swing around and you roll up again, right? It's a swing around note, isn't it? Swing around from 5 to 1, right? It's a little subdivision there, right? When you swing around from 5 to the inversion, yeah. So make sure that's part of the rolling 4 and the way you're grouping the notes, the way you're contouring the notes. Your lateral rotation. Then you go to double speed. Wait, practice the double speed. When you do G, D, 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 clean turnaround. Da, 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 da. I think you should do a lot of practice with this routine. Every day. Subdivisions. All right. Fifths. Sixth, 5-1. 6 in the middle here, fifths. So it's 6-6 fifths, 6-6 fifths, something like that. Okay, so you're going to continue on to staccato for that one too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a pretty good start. So those were the things we did today. We had a lot of structure. We did our scales, we did an arpeggio. I also did something else today with a technique. We did dominant 7 chords, and we're supposed to do that next time, which is taking the dominant 7 of F sharp minor, and it applies to F sharp major, and first do inversions. This bringing out the top voice. So we do that with all the students too. And then we have them resolve by leaning less. Lean less. Musical. Lean less. For an inversion, bring that up. Lean less. Then I have them do the parallel major. Lean less. Lean. So they have the A sharp in the middle note. The third is raised to the A sharp. But always musical. Push. Have them push into the spongy part of the keys, like it's spongy or it's like got density instead of a hard turf. So you have to imagine that. So that I think that takes us almost to 30 minutes. If the student has a lot of repetitions because they need to improve it, it's like becomes a little longer. But if they put enough time into it and they've gotten somewhere with it, it's less time on technique. So that's the structure before we even get to repertoire.